And we're going to start off tonight. Tonight, the primary topic, Anne Carrellas and Lisa Huckleberry will lead us all through just a discussion of the family visiting program and your roles and responsibilities in that. We're going to start off with Ricky, who's going to do his family resource project presentation for us. Ricky, I'll go ahead and share it, and when I get it up there, if you're ready, we can start that. You can just unmute yourself, and you'll have 5 minutes. I will time you, and following that, Anne and Lisa will take over. So as always, if you have questions, comments, what have you, go ahead and click on the raise your hand button, and we'll make sure to get everybody into the queue. So with that, let me share Ricky's project here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sure can.
Okay, perfect.
So whenever you're ready, and if you want me to scroll down, just say whatever you just say. Scroll down. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of talking all over the place, so
okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, thanks everyone for letting me talk to you guys really quickly about my family resource project. So I did mine on sex and individuals with disabilities. And so I kind of left it a little bit more broad. So on my family resource project, I put a lot of resources about sexual assault, sexual education, and then sexuality and disability. So the reason that I tied all three of these things together were for a multitude of reasons. So I was doing some research about sexual assault in the United States, and I think we can all agree to the alarming statistics that are out there. But I tried to look at a lot of the breakdowns, and it mostly had to do with gender, different populations, so like military, inmates, children, and then they broke it down into ethnicities as well. And so I was kind of confused, not confused, but I was wondering where the disability aspect of that would fall into play. So I had to dig even deeper. And I found some statistics that kind of offset this family resource project. So 49% of these, or 83% of females and 32% of males with disabilities are victim to sexual assault. 49% of these individuals victim to these assaults will experience 10 or more abusive incidents, and only 3% of these cases are actually reported. So that kind of concluded to me that why there's not that many statistics out there for this population is because a large majority of them are not reported for many reasons. And from my research, it's a lot of because there's just a lack of education. So the first part of the resources I have is about sexual assault, just to give those different statistics and ways to educate families and individuals with disabilities about safe practices with it. But I wanted to focus more on the sexual education part of it because doing more research and then with my personal experience as well is that a lot of families don't necessarily have the problem in talking about sex to their children. But then when you put disability into the factor of that as well, there's a lot of different factors that families have to go through for their child with a disability. And I think that we've all mapped that out over the last couple months and have realized that. And so I think sexual education is very low on the totem pole. But linking that with these sexual assault statistics, it gives it more of a reason as to why we need to really advocate for this education and teach these families the importance of this education. And I think that's something that stuck out to me in being able to use this, is that many parents don't know why this is that important to like teach right now. And so I think because of that sexual assault piece and educating parents on the aspect of why, it creates this advocacy, which is very important. And then lastly, I put the sexuality and disability component in here, which is all the way at the bottom of this page, because another catalyst as to why I wanted to create it off of this project is because I have a friend who has Down syndrome, and he identifies as being gay. And in his family, it's kind of more of a taboo thing. It's one of those situations where they don't necessarily talk about sex education just because there are so many other factors that they have to talk about. But he like a typically developing child probably or teenager would, and high schoolers learn a lot of things from their friends and possibly going online. But because no one's educated him, he's gotten into a lot of sticky situations because he goes online to learn a lot about this information because there just isn't information out there that is being directly provided for him. So I think overall, hopefully you guys can use this, and I know this is something that I'm going to use in the future as well when talking to families, of the importance of talking about sex to their kids, and even advocating for that education within the schools and other settings that they may be in as well.
Great, thanks, Ricky. And you did it with seconds to spare. And now, anybody with questions? Here, I'll stop sharing that so I can bring everyone up. And I just want to add, Ricky, also this your presentation is up on Blackboard with the rest of the FRPs in the resources tab. So if anybody wants to download this one or any of the other FRPs, they're there. So does anybody have any questions for Ricky on this? Anyone at all? Go ahead and click raise your hand or unmute. Not seeing any questions off the top. So, oh, wait, I spoke too soon. We have one. Oh, let me close that. Sandy, go ahead.
I'm just thinking that, it's hard enough to come out when you don't have a disability, but I had never thought about how difficult it would be for somebody with, especially a cognitive disability, to kind of sort through all those confusing feelings. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I dug a little bit deeper, and there's some more research on that page about the sexuality component of it. And you would, the different communities out there within the LGBT community, like on campus, you have the LGBT center and such. What I found alarming was a lot of those centers, they aren't as inclusive for people with disabilities to identify as being gay necessarily, because there are these stereotypes that, like, if you identify as being gay, you should look a certain way or act a certain way, and then if you have a disability on top of that, that kind of create that there's this disconnect. So I found a lot of interesting articles out there that there's actually, not only is it difficult coming out, but then also trying to find the right community to be involved in to gain that support as well. So it's just something, especially nowadays too, where it's becoming a little bit more acceptable of all of these different areas where people are identifying. It's important to talk about and just know about.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Lisa, go ahead.
Did you say that he had Down syndrome?
Yes, yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting and an excellent topic, because everything surrounding all of that is so needed. And I'm going through some issues with endocrinology right now with my daughter, and one of the things, they're like, is there a chance she could be pregnant? I'm like, no. I'm like, of course, but you don't know. And there is a lot of sexual abuse out there, and it's horrible. The numbers are astounding. But that's the very first time I've ever heard of an individual with Down syndrome being gay. Not that it's not that but I've always wondered. I'm like, I assume they have all abilities just like all people, and that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
John, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, that's a great presentation. It's a little bit similar to some of the things that I was kind of going for in mine. Were you able to find like a specific kind of LGBTQ community for disabled, or is that still something that just kind of needs to be set up and established?
I think it's something that definitely still needs to be established a little bit more, but it's coming into light. Some of the resources that I put up there, they're more like blogs and actual individuals who have a disability and who also identify as being gay. So more of the resources are more support that way. I haven't personally, I haven't come across any specific like groups necessarily. And I mean, by saying like a lot of these LGBT groups are not inclusive. Like, I mean, that's a general like statement that I'm making. I'm sure a lot of them are. But it's just interesting to read some of the research out there that's saying that they aren't. So there are some attitudes that do need to be changed still. So yeah.
Sure, appreciate it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Ricky. That was really good. And as many have mentioned, that's a topic that we are sorely low on resources in a lot of ways. So it's nice that you pulled that together, and I think that'll be helpful for a lot of people. Great. Thank you. So Ann and Lisa, you are up. So I have your PowerPoint and the other document ready, so just let me know when and what you want to do.
That's probably what we're going to use, yeah. And
Which one?
The other document, yeah.
Which one, Ann?
Sorry, the PowerPoint, yeah.
Okay, I'll bring that up.
Okay, Lisa?
Yes, and I apologize. I sent Mike a message. For whatever reason, the state computer doesn't want to connect to my Wi-Fi, which is working fine. So I am on my phone.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, I'm okay with that. But you're going to talk, like we talked about, you can talk through
Absolutely.
the slides? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so the slides are up, so go ahead whenever you're ready.
So Lisa and I are going to do this. I'm going to just present the first few slides, and Lisa's really going to talk about the majority of the family visiting program because she's the one that's done all the work on it. So you can go to the first slide about the competence or what we're going to do today, learning objectives. So it's really, I think the family visiting program is a really crucial part of the LEND training, and it just gives you an opportunity to get to know a family and some of their experiences in a little bit of a deeper way. So I'm really excited for all of you to be doing that. And so, especially, we have some time with it. There's 3 visits or 3 communications. We're hoping 2 visits at least in person, and then maybe 1 that can be over the phone, or if you want it to be in person or a meeting. You can go to the next slide, Mike. And so just so, we always relate everything to the competency areas. And as you probably remember or should know by now, we have maternal health, child health competencies, and then we have the leadership competencies. So these are the competencies that we felt kind of would go with the family visiting program and the things that you'll be doing there. So, kind of increasing your knowledge in general, but also understanding, you'll be experiencing different, you'll have an experience to see families and different families with children with different disabilities. And then so that you have time you'll be, you can ask questions, and we have some questions that you'll be asking that can help with kind of, how did people identify their child's disability? What kind of screening happened to get to the, the diagnosis and that. And then you're going to be asking some questions about how are they receiving services, and is there a coordinated effort? Have they been able to get information and referrals for what they need, that kind of thing. You can go to the next slide, Mike. And then the leadership competencies, we hope that you'll, get some experience in all of these things. So I'm not going to go through them all. As you can see, though, there's some of the major things that you're doing as health professionals in the MyLEND program. So there'll be opportunities to, of course, experience a lot of these different things. I think one of the things that is also that you'll be doing that you'll pull on a lot of this is when you do what we call the family questionnaire and ask them questions and kind of get to know them a little better, you'll help identify maybe some resources that are needed that they haven't been able to find or get a hold of, and maybe perhaps help them. We're hoping that you'll have a chance to find a resource, kind of like you developed, you picked a resource and developed some information about it, but find a local resource for the family that they may have not identified yet in their local community, or maybe a statewide one, because there's other statewide ones as well. Okay, so that's the first couple of slides. I think the next one, if we go to the next one, yeah. Lisa, did you want to take over?
Yep. Yes, I'll jump in here.
Okay.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, great. So discuss a little bit of the mechanics of how this whole family visiting program is going to work. We've been in a lot of discussions over these last few months, trying to make sure that it's very fluid and very works well for not only the families, but also for the trainees as well. And so we've been very thoughtful in how we've been trying to pair teams of trainees together. So currently, right now, we do show that we have teams of 2 trainees together, but in a total of 9 families. So that actually isn't completely correct right now, because right now we have 6 teams of 2 trainees together, and then we have 2 teams of 3 trainees paired together. And we're trying to work out how we can break up those other 2 teams of 3 to create one more team of 2. And the only issue we're having is if there is somebody from Western and then somebody from MSU, we need to pair them together with a family. And we're just trying to coordinate the logistics of finding a family in between those 2 trainees. And also making sure we don't inconvenience any of the trainees by asking them to, drive farther than maybe they were planning. So we are still working that out. If there is anybody from Wayne State, not Wayne State, I apologize, Western or MSU that would not mind maybe traveling a little extra, feel free to email me. If not, I will be probably reaching out to some of you. And so that is the way it is set up right now. And I can get out a list to all of you sometime this week and at least let you know who you have been paired with. Many will be paired with somebody within their own university, but it was just very important that we didn't have 2 audiologists going out together, because we want to really make sure that we are being accountable for the interdisciplinary part of everything that we do here in Lend. And so we want you to both, work together, be creative, utilize the strengths that each of you bring to your team when working with families. And the family will receive a $75 gift card. This may change. It will be $75. That will not change. But we may give $25 at the first visit and $50 at the last visit. And it also looks like the Family Center will be mailing those cards out. That way, none of the trainees will be held responsible for these gift cards. And we're going to work and make sure we get those to the families, but we will clarify that as well. So the first and the third interactions with the family should be in person at, a choice made by the family. Preferably, we'd like to have a home visit, but it will definitely be driven by the needs of the family. Thank you. There will be evaluations that will be completed. Both the trainees and the families will be required to do evaluations. And no trainees, you will not be asked to give evaluations to families that they will have to evaluate you. You will be bringing with you to the first visit an envelope that has the evaluation for the family to take after you leave. And we also have a family questionnaire that has a series of questions, really kind of help you guys to get to know the family a little bit better. And I don't know I think these are already up on the Blackboard. If not, they will be shortly, and you can kind of look over them. But just a really nice set of questions that to kind of lead the conversation and help facilitate meaningful interactivity, and also get to know that family. And that way they're not just put on the spot by, oh, tell me about, although many families, we're really happy to talk about our families, but this will kind of help facilitate and guide so you get some of the information that you're really kind of seeking.
So Lisa, the family questionnaire questions for the trainees are in the document I sent out that you all should have gotten a little while ago. At the end of it, it'll say
saw that
questionnaire. And those are the questions. If anyone has any questions about that, let me or Lisa know.
And I'll get those posted on Blackboard as well.
Okay, great. Thanks.
So basically, this just goes over pretty much what I just said, that you will have first and third visit evaluations. The trainings are a lot of really reflective questions, and really I think it'll give you a great insight of, hopefully how meaningful this was for all of you, and as well as the families themselves, and really give you a chance to grow in all your, knowledge and, leadership skills, and even that cultural piece of it. And really, I think delving into maybe some personal things within inside of you that maybe you hadn't quite thought about or contemplated outside of that clinical piece. So that will be a part of the whole the whole family visiting program is, so we can utilize these evaluations and improve the program as we go on. And so all of your input will be make sure that you give as much input as you can, because we will be utilizing that to make the program better.
Hey, Lisa, we in the chats, Katie and Sarah. Katie says she can go near Ann Arbor if that helps. She's at Western. And Sarah says she's from Western and she can go towards Jackson, the Jackson area, if that helps.
Okay. So let's see. Oh, well, we have the U of M people connected good. It's the MSU and the Western. I'm looking for one each from there.
Okay. Well, Sarah and Katie are at Western, so yeah.
Oh, Sarah. Okay.
Sarah and Katie are both at Western, yeah.
Oh, okay. Who did I connect? Hang on, let me look real quick.
Sure.
Katie's from Western?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go back and double check on that.
So
okay.
if you want to follow up with them afterwards, yeah.
They're both from Western, so either one of them would be willing to travel. Is that what you said?
They're saying they can go towards the Ann Arbor or Jackson area.
Okay, all right. We're trying to find somewhere between Lansing and Kalamazoo.
Okay.
That's what we were looking for, but I'm trying to see. Can I see that chat or no?
Yeah, if you want to I can email you their information. I can connect you guys afterwards.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, and we can move to the next slide if there's no more questions at this point. Okay, so like we mentioned, there's going to be at least 3 visits. If at some point you would like to do another one in between these times, that's fine. I probably won't have any other time to meet, but you're always more than welcome to stay connected with that family if the family would like to do that. And so by the end of this week, I will be sending all of you information on who the family is, and if it is possible that you all could reach out to these families and connect with them before the holidays, that would be great, just to go ahead and make that connection, maybe get a little bit of information, and kind of set up a date to meet, have your first meeting, preferably in January. So we would like to have this done January, February, and March. Obviously, January and February are horrible weather months in Michigan. And so, we will have to work around any weather considerations, but that is the hope, is that this will be wrapped up in March and you will be connected with your 3rd visit sometime by the end of March. And so you definitely, when you speak to the family, when you call them first, these families will be well aware that you're calling, and they will also be well aware that we would like for you to be able to meet in their home, and but also with the option that if they really would like to do this and they would rather meet somewhere, other public place, that you are very open to that as well. And at that point, you will work on doing the family questionnaire, that home visit. You'll leave the evaluation envelope with the family to complete, and they can go ahead and mail that in. And the trainee will be able to complete the evaluations. They are up on Blackboard right now. And I believe they're up. I know they're up. I don't know if you can see them, but I believe Mike said he did share those.
Yes, they're on Blackboard.
Thank you, Mike. And so then we'd be expected to complete that evaluation, and so we can compile all the information. And go to the next slide. The second visit, it can either be on the telephone, or if the family, does have access to Skype or some other video chat, that is welcome as well. And so maybe at the first visit, you may want to discuss that second visit before you leave, and decide on how you will work out that second visit. And also could be back in the home or at a location of the family's choice. And when you are there on that first visit, you can let them know, as well as I will when I do reach out to them this week, that, if they have any upcoming, doctor's appointments or any school meetings coming up that you could attend with them, that is a possibility as well. And so during the second visit, you're really going to be able to, unless you are going to, obviously, an appointment where you may not have all the time to do a really good checkup, but if you are there just meeting in a park or at the home or via Skype, it'll really be able to check up with that family, follow up on any resources that through your questionnaire on that first visit came out of that. And so they will be able to identify some needs through that questionnaire, and it'll be part of what you will be able to, you're responsible for, will be able to, seek out resources or maybe answers to questions, or kind of helping coordinate with other people to get some of the needs met for these families, whether, it be a resource or something that they were, wondering about but didn't really know how to go about getting information on. And so that will happen at that second visit. And then the third visit will be in home or at another location. And, you will bring another evaluation for the family, just like on the first visit, as well as you will do another training evaluation. Now, on that last third visit, and Anne, feel free to chime in here on this visit about, I don't know if you will need to be bringing more information to them. I don't believe we have any other questionnaire for them, or
and I think
trying to interact with the child.
Visit, yeah, to just check in with the family, and if you didn't quite get all the resources they needed or the information they were looking for in the second visit, you can always bring it on the third. So it's just kind of a check-in, and to kind of say, enjoyed meeting you. Here's some resources if you have other questions, that kind of thing. And
we will also be giving a $10, I think we just decided to do like a $10 gift card that the child could go out and buy some kind of gift or something for themselves. Obviously, it's $10, not very much. But originally, we were going to have the trainees utilize it and buy a gift for the child and bring it. But then we're trying not to put too much responsibility, or, we know your time's pretty busy right now. And so this way it kind of gives the child something to look forward to. And, they can go out and have that experience shopping, which a lot of children, with disabilities don't always get. So I think that'll be a really exciting thing for them as well.
And we also have the two, are you going to talk about the more, I was going to say the two evaluations.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, sorry about that. I did briefly mention it, but if you want to talk more into that,
I just want to say the two evaluations are the first one, the trainees, you all will do one online at the end of the visit. Like when you go back, you should get it done that day after the visit. And then you're going to leave a paper one with the family with an envelope to send it back to me. And then in the third visit, you'll do the same thing. You'll complete one online, and the family will have a paper one that you can give them. So we'll send those out to you so that you can print out a paper copy. And we'll have to get you some envelopes too. So we'll get on that. So you have an envelope that's self-addressed to me and stamped, so they don't have to put any postage on it. Those are just going to look at kind of, they're going to be evaluated just to see if we can improve the program. Did things change? what did the family think about the family visiting program? What did you think? That kind of stuff. Any questions about that part of it, or? Okay.
So then, in wrapping all this up, a big part of this family visiting program will be for you to be able to get more out of it than just, these sessions that we have with you online, really be out there. We know most of you are already working with families, but really putting in to practice and utilizing these life considerations, and really think about these different things as you are going into this and into the homes of families, and how you can use those leadership strengths and styles. Think back to the strength-based 101. I think it was 101 4.0 2.0, but the strengths that you pulled up from that, and what can you take from that and really kind of be thoughtful in how you meet with these families, and also at the same time noticing the strengths of the family and how you can really build upon those, and work with a family as a team based upon their strengths, because we know the strength of the family, if we can build on that, they're going to do the things that are going to be really helpful for their children. And also, many of these families may not realize there's other programs or possibly gaps in their care that didn't even realize that there were. And you may be able to offer, some of these different tools that you all have accumulated thus far in your careers and in this training to really, be that missing link for this family. So I want you to just be really thoughtful and thinking about these things, going back and looking over the different strengths that were identified. And also, it may be a good discussion for you and your team member that you'll be working with to discuss how can you incorporate both of your strengths to make a really powerful team in order to help this family. Sorry, you can switch to the next one, Mike. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this, the reason why we did try to mix up the teams somewhat is so we did have the interdisciplinary aspect of the team going out. And so, learn from each other like you're already doing right now, and really understand, think about what are the things when you're out there in this family's home, you may see things that maybe other people haven't already thought about for this child, or maybe you notice something that hasn't been diagnosed in that child. And so think about what is your role in that, and if those things come up, where do you take that? Where do you go with that? And that will also be something that I can't answer, but I would hope there's somebody within our leadership team that will maybe jump in right now and speak to that.
In terms of, what was that? I'm sorry, Lisa.
Yeah. So like their role in what if they are in a family's home and they notice some diagnosis, or possibly this child has something else that has not been identified, and you're feeling really strongly about this. Is this something that, we wouldn't want that to go unnoticed. What if it takes someone another year, but what is it, how can we address something like that if it comes up?
Well, I think one of the things is it's okay to ask the family, whoever you're dealing with, have they talked about this with a health professional yet? And then suggest that they do. And I think that's okay. And then I would suggest also talking to your mentor after that and seeing if there's a need to do some follow-up, with probably through the family center or, directly, just to see if there's something else that should be followed up. But I think initially it's okay because you're there to learn, and you could certainly ask, have you, brought this up? Perhaps you could do this at the next visit, that kind of thing.
Thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. Yes, that's exactly what I was going for, and I just wanted to make sure that we gave them the right information.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's always, You never know, because things can come up. And so the other thing I just want to say to you is, if you notice something that you're concerned about and you're not comfortable bringing up with the family, again, you should bring it up, probably bring it back to your mentor and to Lisa.
Yes.
And myself, just to, run by us, okay? So we can make sure, because go ahead, Mike. Was that you?
No, we have a couple questions.
Oh, okay.
Jay, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, at these visits, if I were to learn that the family, either the child or the caretaker or the parent has dental needs, would the program be okay with me, or that goes for Philip too, offering to bring them back to the dental school for care?
So how does that work with the program? Do you mean refer them to the U of M clinic?
Yeah, so if it's an adult, so we have a separate pediatric department that
Right.
Dr. Grewal is very familiar with. So we can either bring the child back to the pediatric clinic, or if it's an adult, then Philip and I can bring the patient back to the university and provide care for them as well.
Yeah, and I would say have them go through, though, your normal referral process or intake. You're not going to just bring them yourselves, right? That's not what you meant. You meant have them come to the clinic that you're working at, or?
Yeah, we can also, since by that point, I'm assuming that we'll have established some sort of relationship. So we can also bring the patient back in as our own patients, instead of just funneling them through the system.
Is that something you do with other people too?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure it's not outside of the regular,
Everyone will be jumping into this program if the case.
Yeah. You may get more response than you think, given that we know the dental needs. But yeah, no, that's fine as long as it follows your protocol.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. What do you think, Lisa? If they are willing to do that or want to, or you could offer them too and say you could either see me or I can refer you to other people in the program.
No, I think that's amazing. You don't know how many families, well, sure you know as well, everyone who need dental care, whether it's the adult or the child, and a lot of people don't know about the U of M school where they can go to get dental care at a much more reasonable price, and orthodontics. I actually have a friend who's taking her daughter there for orthodontics, has Down syndrome, and no, I think as long as everyone's following their protocol, I see no reason why that couldn't be offered. I think you're going to make somebody's day.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Emily, if you still had your question, you can go ahead and ask.
I actually had a question about the evaluations, and you might have touched upon it, and I apologize if you have. So for the pre-evaluations, do you guys want us to do that, can we do that now, or do you want us to do it right before?
Anne, I can answer that if you want.
Yeah, why don't you?
Yeah, the way that the evaluations are set up is there's a trainee evaluation that the trainees, like Ann and Lisa mentioned, that the trainees will complete following the first visit, and then a family evaluation that the families complete following the first visit.
Okay.
Okay, and then the second evaluation is after the final visit. It's the same protocol. You trainees will complete one, and it's online through Qualtrics, and then the families will complete one as well.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. There's no more questions right now.
Okay, you can go to the next slide. And so within these visits, and it's probably a good idea to even reflect on this after the first visit, these life considerations, these ones that Anne has highlighted within this PowerPoint, and kind of think after your first visit, if you have some time within that first week while it's still fresh in your mind, and maybe brainstorm with your the partner that you'll be working with on, do we want to maybe next time go at this a little differently, or how do you think that went? And of course, you'll be discussing with your mentors as well. But I think it would be a good idea to be able to do that. but thinking about, you know, who are the members of the family? Who are the people that are in this family's life? You know, like we all know, families aren't just, you know, two kids, a dog, and husband and wife any longer. And so we want to be very respectful of, you know, asking them, I don't mean asking the family, but really getting to understand who are the members of the family and how do their roles interact with this child, with each other. You know, is there someone that seems to take charge? So thinking about their current roles and how those play off of each other. We discussed, you know, how you'll try to really think about the strengths that you notice. Said you're going to be with this family for not very long. It's a family you don't know. So a lot of things could change by the third visit, but I think you'll be able to pick up on just being with that family the first time, kind of some of what their strengths are, things that maybe you notice that you pick up on one of their strengths and you're like, oh, that's something we could really build upon to do X, Y, and Z to make things better for this child doing, you know, whatever that is, and kind of brainstorm about that. And, you know, really get that family's input on how do they want to be talked to? How do they want to talk with professionals? You know, it can be very, I just lost my word. Very scary. That's not the word I'm thinking of. It's an I word, but, you know, very
Intimidating
intimidating.
a little, or
Intimidating. Thank you.
yeah.
So, you know, really kind of understand, you know, maybe where that family's coming from, getting to understand what resources may be in that family's community. And so maybe they don't even understand that there are resources within their community that they could really tap into, because I know even for me, I live in Clinton County, but I work in Ingham County, and I sometimes feel very disconnected from Clinton County, although I live here, but I probably don't know about a lot of resources that are here for families. So, you know, I think that's important of maybe kind of doing a little bit of that research, and then, you know, thinking about how you can work with the team, and even maybe if there's any possibilities of working, giving input on that family with the provider and family, if that was something that was needed or the family wanted to. And do you have anything to add on this equity piece? Maybe you want to speak with that a little?
Well, I think just keep in mind some of the things that Denise has talked with us about, Denise White Perkins, you know, that we've had at the face-to-face, and just some of the things you might observe about, does it seem like people have disparities in their access to healthcare? You know, are there, you know, some of the things we look at as rural, urban, you know, ethnic and racial groups, you know, just whatever might occur to you, you know, in terms of income. You know, so what are maybe, you know, just saying to the, you know, trying to understand better, are the family able to access the healthcare they need, and do they have professionals nearby, or do they have to, you know, drive into U of M from Kalamazoo for some things? I've just made that up. I don't know what, you know, the health services are available in many of the local communities, but, you know, I do hear sometimes people are coming from great distances, for instance, to go to U of M, you know, for specialty clinics and that. So, anyway, so yeah, just kind of maybe thinking about that, you know, who has access, who might have a more difficult time getting access.
I think that is really all that I have. Does anyone have questions? I hope that was informative and able to help some of you out understanding how it's going to be working here out.
And of course, you know, as you go through it, or if anything comes up, feel free to call us or email us, contact us if you're having any questions or, you know, concerns, or just things that you need to understand a little better about the whole process. That's fine.
Katie has a question that says, when will we get our assigned partners / family contact information?
By the end of this week. I could right now tell you everyone who their partner is right now. The only thing that may change is someone from Western and someone from MSU we're hoping to connect. So I'm more than happy. We do have plenty of time. It looks like I can feel free to share that with you. That way you can at least connect with the members of your team. Sure, I can read them off. So I'm not going to give out family information right now because I will be contacting them. But so we have Christine and Emily together, and we have Jay and Peggy. If anyone needs last names, let me know. Right now I show, and so let me make sure that this is correct. Brandon, Catherine, and Sarah all are at Western. Is that correct?
I can
Yes.
check the list.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we were hoping to take one of you and pair one of you with someone from MSU. Right now, 3 of you are together, but that is what we're trying to hope. Take one of you from Western and pair you up with either Brittany, Richard, or Michelle from MSU. So right now, that's where it stands. Kayla and John will be together. We have Sandy and Sandy LaPrat and Madison Hund. At MSU, we should have Brittany, Richard, and Michelle right now. But like I said, we're hoping that we can take one of you and pair you with somebody from Western and find a family halfway between Kalamazoo and Lansing. And the next pair is Ishmael and Claire. So we do have the U of M Dearborn and U of M Ann Arbor paired there. And then the last but not least is Philip and Kate. And that's it. Are there any questions on that?
Do not have any questions right now.
Great.
Every time I look at this, I just think of the Brady Bunch, all the little squares.
Actually, Emily has a question. Go ahead, Emily.
I do actually have a question. So after we do the family visiting, are we gonna do like a presentation or anything at the end, or no?
So we don't have anything like that. No.
Okay.
We may ask you to do. I was thinking about. I haven't talked to Lisa, talked this through with her, but we were thinking maybe you'll do a reflection or something, just something short to kind of summarize what the experience was like for you.
Okay.
So
And then my last question is, did you want us to take any photos or do anything like that, or no?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. I do have a photo release that I think you gave me, someone gave me, from Wayne State University, and I was going to
I can send those out. I have those, so I can send them out.
So do we need photos?
No, right, and I have that photo release because so that's something we do need to discuss. I was just going to edit it instead of saying Wayne State, saying Lend and Family Center or something like that. But I guess it's something we do need to discuss. The family may want a photo with them and their child, or their child, I think families are going to be pretty excited about making an impact on, people who are working with children. And so I guess I don't know that we need them, but what do you guys
The
think?
release would be if we wanted to use them publicly, and so that's a big question. So maybe we'll talk about that in, I think, the next
Meeting.
Yeah, we
Sounds
didn't really
good.
talk about that, so we can talk about that and figure that out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, doesn't look like there are. And of course, everyone can feel free to email Ann or Lisa if they have questions after tonight. And just to tie it all up in a bow, Lisa, you said you're going to be sending out the information regarding the pairs, the trainee groups, and the family assignments by the end of the week?
Yes, and and this is something because I do have it all on one spreadsheet. Then I got to thinking that I don't know, do we want families' informations going out to everyone, or just probably the people who will be just to be,
Yeah.
cognizant of how we use their information. So I will probably be sending an individual, I guess, emails.
That would be best. Lisa, send an individual email to the
Yep.
2 people with the name
With
of the
the contact
family and the
information.
contact information.
Well, Ann and Lisa, you guys can work that out after.
Yeah,
too.
we'll work that out.
I will get it out to you all though by Friday this week.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody. Look for an evaluation of tonight's session as always. And we have one question from Jane. Does anyone have any questions about the quality improvement assignment? I see most of you have posted your QI proposals on Blackboard, and I will review them and write comments. Any questions or comments this evening? And do any of our trainees have any questions regarding the quality improvement module 6 in Blackboard? If you think of any after the session here, you can email Dr. Turner, of course. Jane, I'm not seeing any questions right now. All right. She threw her hands up. No, so of course, if you have any questions, please go ahead and email Dr. Turner. But I think we are good. Happy holidays to all, says Sharon.
Happy holidays.
One final note for the trainees. Modules 7 and 8, which will open up in January. I'm going to have those available to you before the holidays, though. I'm going to have those up and open to you to review. There are some readings that Dr. Fuqua would like you to look at ahead of the January 9th Zoom session, and I believe there's an activity as well. But of course, you'll get emails about that, and I'll be sure to alert everybody when those are available.